I'm a bit of a head case beginning of my camp. It's being able to not knowing my opponent, being able to get in there. Whether it's in the first round or in the third round, be able to fight. Study my opponent, and then after that, you actually be cool with somebody you don't really know. So it's pretty cool. It's a weird but fascinating sport. I was doing wrestling in high school for a little bit. I quite enjoyed it, but after I graduated, I wanted to do more. So I ended up hearing from a friend, about jiu-jitsu. I got into jiu-jitsu, and then I even wanted to proceed more. So I ended up getting an opportunity to fight, and ever since I've been doing it. So I enjoyed it a lot, actually. So I currently train out of Pure Mixed Martial Arts in Rockaway, New Jersey, and I also train at Toro MMA in Stockholm, New Jersey. So I am an instructor at Pure Mixed Martial Arts, and I'm also an instructor at Toro MMA. I teach once a week at both gyms, and I continue my training there also.
But you're not always cool with your opponents. Sometimes there's some trash talk online.
Yeah, that is true. That happened, a couple times. But I mean, other than that, it's them, and it's a way they try to get under my skin, but it doesn't really work. So I mean, I just let them do their game, and then I go in there and I finish the fight like I always do.
So you've got a fight coming up for CFFC next month. Talk a little bit about how the fight came together and who your opponent is.
So it was tough. I was scheduled to fight for Ring of Combat, defend my 125 belt, and I had two opponents pull out. They both signed, and they ended up pulling out. So I'm guessing the Ring of Combat just moved on with another bout because the card was full, and then. You reached out to CFFC. They said they were interested in me, and I appreciate that. And then my manager and my coach reached out to them saying that they needed an opponent. They ended up finding me I forgot the kid's name, something Morrera, Alec Morrera or Andre Morrera, and he is a brown belt from Costa Rica. I don't think it's the same as our type of jiu-jitsu over there. So I know that he is fighting out of Daniel Gracie's gym, which is cool. I've already knocked out one of their guys. So it's cool. I mean, I'm excited about it. He's not a brown belt. He's got no grips. He's got nothing. So, I mean, when I'm punching him in the face, it's just going to be another white belt. But other than that, I know that after I hit him, he's gonna try to shoot in on me, and then either I'm gonna stop him on the ground again, or I'm gonna put him out on the feet.
We're getting ready. We're getting Tommy ready for his fight coming up for CFFC. Excited to have him fight for CFFC. Having fought there myself, and a lot of really good guys coming through that promotion. He's on a 5-fight win streak. It's a 5 or 6 now. Six fight win streak, and he's just a crusher at 125. With him, he's such a talented striker. He's still young, and he still wants to get in there and just push the pace. So sometimes, like right now, it's working with him on precision and picking his shots and making sure that he doesn't gas himself out or anything like that. Because when he controls the range, when he controls the cage, his talent is just too much for most guys to handle. And he's also a very big, strong 125er. He's tough to take down, so even a good wrestler is going to have a hard time with him. So that's really the focus. Is nothing out of the ordinary from what he's been doing. What he's been doing has been working. So it's really just staying the path and focusing on small things, making sure he doesn't make little mistakes that are going to get him caught.
What are your plans for this year for fighting after this fight?
So I still have to talk to my managers about this and my coaches, but if the UFC does do away with the 125 division, I think I am gonna bump up to 35.
I mean, listen, when you go up a weight class, you're dealing with bigger guys. You lose some of your advantage that you have when you cut to the lowest that you can cut to. Like, it's for me, I fought at 45 and 55, and it's always a harder fight at 55, even if the talent is slightly lower, because I'm fighting guys that are as big as 185 on fight night. So that's the situation with Tommy. I would love to keep him at 125 if we can maybe talk with ONE FC or some of these organizations that are promoting and building their 125-pound divisions. If not, and if he wants to maintain his focus on the UFC, which is obviously understandable, then we're going to do that, and we'll talk about going up a weight class. If we go up a weight class, we want to do it the right way, and not just say, okay, we're just going to cut less. Like, he doesn't necessarily have to gain a ton of weight, but he still has to get that, he has to get sitting and comfortable at a slightly higher weight, and also get used to training and sparring and wrestling with guys for his camps that are heavier. And it's not, in theory it's the same. Like, the one thing is that the interesting thing is that there's a lot of 25ers going up to 35 because of this. So you're going to have for a little while a whole bunch of 25ers fighting at 35. So we might try to take advantage of that, just fight more guys like that would otherwise have been 25ers at 35 until Tommy's established at 35, and then obviously if the UFC comes calling, we're gonna take it, but we're gonna do it the right way either way.
The reason I'm confident with the 35 bounce now is, I've got a great team. I just got a new strength and conditioning coach. The guy's weird, but he's freaking awesome at what he does. He's going for his doctorate in exercise science, so this guy has me doing these workouts that I'm strong at now. I'm 140 pounds, but I'm able to defend all these shots. I'm strong, and I'm full of energy, and I'm training smart now. So if they decide to cut that division, I think I want to bump up to 35, but I got to see what the opportunities are outside of here. If we're going to travel overseas, or if we're going to stay around here, maybe check out Bellator or the UFC at 35.
Speaking of Bellator, you already fought for them once, got a quick win. What's going on there? Is there any conversation about returning?
So I fought for Bellator about a month and a half ago, maybe 2, and I was interested. They did want to give me an opportunity at 35, but at that time we weren't interested in it. But then we found out the UFC was going to cut the 25 division, so we'll see. I know one of my coaches put in my name for that Bellator fight in Ireland for a short notice. If somebody ended up getting hurt, I would definitely jump up and fight. But it was the Gallagher fight. I was trying to get on that card if the opponent got hurt, either one of them got hurt. Right now at this point I want to see whatever's best for me, whether it's Bellator or the UFC, but I know it's going to have to be at 35 at this point. So I'm willing to make that jump if it's worth it.
Talk a little bit about your training right now. You got to work, you got a family. Talk a little bit how you mix it all together.
It's tough, and my family knows that when it's I'm in fight camp, they understand, they respect the aspect of it. I do work full time, I do train full time, I am a father full time, and with that, it is a lot about balancing. Even if I'm tired, I still make time for my kids, especially. They understand it, but my son, he's 6. He's more like, take a day off. And I'm like, dude, I can't. But I'll come home and I'll play the video games with you, and do whatever you want. But sometimes it gets tough. Sometimes it is frustrating, especially with the weight cut. The patience is very low. But other than that, it's just balancing life right there at that point.
You're talking about making the move up 10 pounds to 135. Does your training have to change at all? So the training for if I did jump up to 35 would be,
my strength and conditioning coach said just eating more and just heavier lifts, which isn't bad. He focused on the strength part, but also the conditioning part, where a lot of these strength and conditioning coaches focus on pointless lifts, kind of what he's told me. So he's got it down to a science right now, where he's got me training for 25, and he also said that until the managers and my coaches give him a definite, go to 35, he's not going to switch the workouts up. But that's basically the only thing that would change, is the eating and the lifting a little bit. Just lift a little heavier and just continue doing what we're doing.
How long now have you been training? I mean, you've been a pro for a couple of years now, but how long have you been training?
I would say about 5 or 6 years now. I was an amateur for a little while, just because I was on a year layoff because nobody wanted to fight, and then I made the move to 35 after that year layoff because of I didn't have a fight. I was getting frustrated. I even thought about not fighting anymore because of it. And then I went 35, and I was on a winning record as an amateur. Also, I finished 4-2, I think. And when I took the fight at 35, I lost my first fight against Phil, which I give him everything. You give him his props. But I learned my lesson that day. Don't bring the family down. I was in dad mode. I was on the boardwalk all day. Day of the fight with my son and his mom for up to 20 minutes up to the rules meeting. So I was kind of still in dad mode. But after that, I lost the fight, and I ended up getting 6 or 7 fights in that 1 year, and then I continued, and then last year and this year I kind of slowed down. Now I've fought from 7 to 2 times, and now this year I've only fought. I don't think I fought yet. Yeah, I haven't fought yet. Yeah, so last year I only fought about 2 times.
Wait, speaking of Phil, you fought him, you rematched him.
Yeah.
And you lost that one as well, right?
Yeah. So the first one I tagged him, but in New Jersey you don't have ground and pound, so it kind of sucks as an amateur. But I ended up getting tired that fight. I just made the switch to pure MMA, and I was training with him for about a week and a half, and I took the fight on a week and a half notice, and then we ended up losing that fight, unfortunately. But then again we took the pro fight. I had a couple injuries, but other than that, it was a learning lesson. After I lost, it made me hungry, and now I'm on a 6-fight winning streak. 5 of them coming via knockout and TKO, and 1 submission. So I'm pretty happy right now off that record. I'm a bit of a head case beginning of my camp, but as I initially get that, hey, you're fighting this guy, whatever, whether he is a brown belt or he's a good striker, I'm nervous at the beginning, where I'm like, this is gonna be a tough fight. I could lose, whatever. But as the camp goes on and on, I notice that I find myself being more confident and saying, I'm gonna kick this kid's ass. I've also learned being patient. I've picked up on training smart, focusing on my recovery, because a lot of it was I was overtraining, wasn't focusing on my recovery. And I've slowed down a little bit with the training. I'm still as consistent, but I take rest days now. So it's quite a bit of what I've been picking up on, and training smart. Picking my partners, especially in fight camp, not going with guys that are 20 pounds heavier than me. So I based it off that. Now I have a great strength and conditioning coach. He takes care of me, makes sure that I'm training, make sure that I'm taking my supplements, he makes sure that I'm focusing on my conditioning. So I've built a great team so far. I have a great management team, my coaches. So yeah, my coaches will tell me, they're like, you're good in the cage, but guess what, when you're here we still have to humble you. So it's a learning experience, man. So I appreciate it, and yeah, I just want to keep learning. I want to keep being the best, and eventually going from there. So with my jiu-jitsu, I'm training with Mike and Andy Main, my head coaches. I got a couple training partners on there. We have Kevon, we have Antoine, his brother Alex. Great brown belts, very, very unique training styles. I definitely pick their brain when I'm in camp and when I'm outside of camp. Striking, I have Andy as my head coach. I have Melvis Figueroa as one of my coaches. And again, myself, I have my similar style where I base off my style. I pick up on, my shifts, whether I'm shifting too much forward. My boxing coach, Don Schaff. And then MMA, I do it with Andy, Melvis. I got Kevin Gocklin. So a lot of the guys that have been there since day one, I've been training with. And when I was going to Miller Brothers, I had Shorty I was training with for a little bit, Claudio Ledesma. That's basically it. Guys around my weight. My strength and conditioning coach Shane. He like I said, he takes care of me. He focuses on my needs and not what he thinks is not towards the sport, basically. And anytime I go to Tiger Schulman's too, my manager's part of Tiger Schulman, so when I get to go there, I get to train with a couple guys there. So I mean, I've got the best team around in the state of New Jersey right now. So yeah, I mean, you just go up from here.
Predictions for the fight?
It's going to be a finish. It's going to be either a knockout or a submission. I mean, I know he's a brown belt from Costa Rica, so I sub him. That means I'm a brown belt from Costa Rica. So, but other than that, I mean, I'm going to hit him. He's definitely going to try to take it down to the ground, which, I mean, I'm confident. I like to keep it standing, but I do have great jiu-jitsu. So I mean, wherever they want to go, we'll go. So it's going to be a finish regardless. So first off, I want to thank my coaches. I want to thank Andy Main, Mike Main, Craig Hannigan, Melvis Figueroa. They've been a big part of my team. They're my cornermen. They push me even when I'm tired and I don't want to train anymore. They know when I'm off during training. I want to thank Pure and Toro MMA, again, two of the gyms that I train at. I want to thank Retro Fitness in Newton. I'm sponsored by them. That's where I do my strength and conditioning. Pure Hemp Shop, one of my protein sponsors. I also want to thank Gameville and Boonton Coffee, actually where we're doing our interview today. And yeah, I mean that's it. That's my sponsors, and I appreciate you guys, and thank you for trusting me to promote your brand. Appreciate it.